Zack, we have Superman and Wonder Woman for you.
Oh, yeah.
One, two, three. So cute.
So
oh,
awesome.
yeah.
You know, you are the thing. Like your point of view is the commodity that you have. The way you see is no one else has that but you. And so, however you exercise that, do it to its fullest. You know, don't be afraid of it. Don't shy away from it. If you think it's weird, doesn't matter. It's cool. So that to me is the thing I always say. You know, you're the only you there is. So, you know, I want to see what you do.
This question is for Zack Snyder. Zack, my name is Skiiwalker the Jedi. I've been on a little bit of a hero's journey myself with you and your projects, right? Seeing this thing here is truly a moment that has brought this entire new sale campaign into a full circle moment, if you will. My question for you, sir, is would you be overjoyed if your stories were able to continue in any form, even if it was on a third party outside of WBD?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's fair and it's exciting. And look, I love the world, and obviously, I've not put a small amount of effort into into this mythology. And you know, we have done also a small amount of work toward what the eventualities of these scenarios might be. My experience with you guys and with this material has been incredibly satisfying, and I couldn't be happier with the way that you guys have been able to deviate there, right? And so, yes, would I be interested in whatever medium or whatever way these ideas would continue? Of course I would. But
Yeah. Woo!
What's up, everybody? My name is Josh Herrera. I am a nobody, but to some, I am a overly passionate fan of comic book materials. And what you just saw was me and my special guest at Full Circle Snyderverse, which is the poster right back here, which was a 3-day convention benefiting the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention that was showcasing Zack Snyder's Justice League trilogy. As of right now, this is the t-shirt that actually came in late. I didn't get to get it at Full Circle. I ordered it from Ink to the People, which benefited AFSP. And we're just going to kind of talk about that event, talk about the video clip that was shot by me. The first clip was actually shot by an AFSP volunteer. I was cosplayed as Wonder Woman, and a fellow fan was also cosplaying as Black Suit Superman, which is specifically from Zack Snyder's Justice League, aka the Snyder Cut. And this person is somebody who I really admire, who I really look up to, who is an inspiration in this fandom. And so I just kind of wanted to bring him on and talk a little bit about the event and talk about what he was brave enough to do at this event, dressed as Black Suit Superman, and talk about the campaign movement that he has started with a few fellow Zack Snyder Snyderverse fans. So without further ado, let me change the banner here real quick. I'm going to bring on Mr. Skiiwalker, the Jedi. What's up, homie?
Yo, what's going on, bro? It's an honor to be on here talking with you in your first ever live stream, and this is going to be amazing. Thank you for having me on your platform, bro. Very, very excited to be here.
No, thank you. And I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I've been somebody who pretty much created Twitter primarily for Zack Snyder released the Snyder Cut movement. And so I'm a fan of a lot of other stuff. You know, I'm a pop culture fan, so to speak. I love Marvel. I love DC. I love Star Wars. And when I saw your name, I was like, all right, this guy's got something, you know, he's got something going. And as far as I know, that was a nickname for you back in the day?
Yes. It's been a nickname of mine like for quite some time. And it just kind of took its own thing. And, you know, here I am on YouTube and I'm just using it and it's kind of stuck. So this is what it is, right? For the foreseeable future. It's actually kind of cemented now, right? Yeah.
It is. I pretty much, I've only addressed you as Sky when I first met you. I was like, hey, Sky.
Right. Hey, literally, right? Like Josh was the first person to come up and speak to Sil and I at Full Circle. He was like, yo, is this the Steel Nation section? Right. And it was like, it was an amazing moment. And it was literally like right after we got there, we were standing in line for probably like less than 2 minutes. And Josh walked up immediately. It was like, is this the Seal Nation section? So Josh will forever be ingrained into my memory as the first person that spoke to me at Full Circle, 100%.
Well, it's a pleasure to have welcomed you and Sil. Just a little bit background. So for people who like this, just so you know, like full disclosure, I'm not a YouTuber like you know, I know you have a weekly show that you have coming on, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But this channel has probably, I think I doubled my subscribers. I had 6 before I created the stream, and now I have 12. So
hey, progress, right? 100% growth, right? 100%. There you go.
Exactly. So, but for me, like I said, you were an inspiration because, you know, you're pretty much just like a fan. You're a fan of pop culture, a fan of movies. And the way that I found out about you, backstory, I was in a relationship for 8 years with somebody who was a fellow geek pop culture fan. And it started in 2012, near the end of 2012. And this person went and saw Man of Steel with me. So pretty much with me throughout the last, pretty much the
entirety of this thing, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And this person was my friend. Also, I was in a relationship with this person, but I loved talking speculation and watching content. And then what do you think would happen? You know, did you like this? Blah, blah, blah. So that was my kind of like outlet for commentary, fan interaction, right? I loved watching YouTube. And let's be honest, hashtag release was all pretty much, you know, galvanized by Twitter, social media, and YouTube, right? So for me, I started really going in with hashtag release in 2018 when I think Zack teased stuff on Vero and stuff. And then I through the grapevine, basically, I found out about you in 2020 near the end of that relationship where it ended. Got real toxic. I got Harley Quinn and a Joker tattooed on me to kind of symbolize back in 2016 where I thought it was going, and sure enough, it did. But in 2020, I started listening to Sil, and Sil is little kind of notorious in the YouTube space. Some people don't like him because they would label him as a scooper, I would say. But for me, he was just a guy talking about movie news, and he was just, you know, through time started getting scoops. And for someone like me who loves entertainment and pop culture, I didn't know if I was going to ever see these movies, right?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if it was ever going to happen. So I started listening, and I found out about you, found out about, you know, Mikey Sutton, found out about the Cool Table, found out about Leon, you know, and we'll talk about all those, and then met a lot of other people through you guys. So thank you for kind of inspiring me to come out of the shadows, because when I saw you at Full Circle, it was awesome. I was like, oh, you know, So Nation's here, because I felt like I knew you because I've watched you for so long.
Man, yo, it's crazy. I'm not gonna lie, right? Full Circle was the first event that I like went to, like as a YouTuber, right? So it definitely was like, it took some getting used to, right? Having people come up to me and comes like, yo, Sky, what's up? But like you said, it is that sense of almost like we're like friends and family over here with Still Nation, right? And we definitely build that trust, right? And you hope that what you say resonates with people and that, you know, it allows that relationship to kind of grow naturally. And so thank you, you know, for being part of the community, man. Thank you for representing the way that you do, as I'm sure that we're going to cover. You inspired me, right, at Full Circle, and you didn't even know, right, until afterwards, you know. So yo, it's definitely been a two-way street in that aspect. And I want to say, you know, just keep doing what you're doing. And I'm happy that you're here. And, you know, I said that this is your first stream. Hopefully this is the first of many because, you know, it really does take us coming out of the shadows to, you know, kind of make these things happen. And like, I was, you know, just a content watcher like this entire time, right? I was donating super chats on everybody's channel in all the chat rooms and everything. And it literally took something kind of happening to draw me out and for me to start making content. And, you know, there is more than enough room for everybody that's dope and that has their own point of view. You know, as many people as we can have here talking about these situations, the better. So thanks for being here, Josh. And I appreciate your presence as well as you say that you appreciate mine. 100%.
Yes, sir. And I wanted to actually give some. I was forgetting. I was like, oh crap, there's other people in here. So I was highlighting.
We got Necron. What's up, Necron? We got Mama Bear in the chat. Much love, Mama Bear. Y'all know I love me some Mama Bear art dog. Going over there and sub their channel right now if you haven't. I was just going through her short poems playlist the other day. Her voice is so soothing. You can just get lost in it. Head on over there right now. Also, head on over to Bat Dan's Thoughts. I just did an interview over there earlier this week talking about #sale, right? Bat Dan was my first interview this week, kicking it off. And, you know, he was the first person to send me a super chat too. Man, Bat Dan has been here since the beginning. He was the only person that beat me being a member on Sill's channel too. Because I would have been the first member if it wouldn't have been for Bat Dan. So 100%, yo. Shout out to Bat Dan. Shout out to Necron, the rest of the cool table. I saw all you guys in here, yo. Y'all super dope. Sin Havoc is in here.
And I wanted to shout out Mama Bear for truly being a Mama Bear. Thanks for letting me know. I have 13 subs. I had a troll who
I saw 14.
Oh, 14. All right. We're moving on up. We're moving on up. I guess here's my first ever. If you can, guys, please hit the like button, subscribe at the end. But I forget.
Hit that notification bell too, right? Yeah.
Notification bell. Maybe we'll do some more of these. But we're here right now with the man of the hour. So you talked about what brought you. What was the catalyst that brought you out? Because I know that you said, you know, kind of like me. We in #release, we're all kind of us united, right? At a certain point. And we all were kind of supporting each other. And then some things kind of got wacky, right? And we as a Snyderverse fandom have been labeled many things by the media, but I think unfairly because it drives clicks. And one thing I will say about, I have a psychology background, and one thing that I've kind of noticed and just observed about Snyderverse fans is that we are very passionate people. So when we we get riled up, you know, but the media, I think, noticed that and took advantage of that. So, you know, having certain headlines or certain clickbait really kind of like was the stick kind of poking the bear, I would say. And
oh yeah, man. Yo, it was everywhere you went, Josh. Right? Like I had to, like, yo, so many, like my perception of so many outlets changed during that time. I stopped watching IGN. Right? Like literally every man, what was that guy's name? Jim Vavuda.
Oh,
right? Right? He used to just walk out. They could be talking about something ain't got nothing to do with Zack Snyder, right? He just throw some random shot at like releasing the Snyder cut. I'd be like, yo, like where did it even come from? Right? Like you could not watch any platform on YouTube without catching strays, or any large platform without catching strays, yo. Cinema Sins, you go just down the line. Yo. It was just every single outlet was throwing shots at Zack Snyder fans. So you're absolutely right, sir. Absolutely.
So that kind of, I would say, that provoked us to kind of overtake, I would say, Twitter as the platform where we kind of congregated and united and hashtagged in November of 2019. If anybody doesn't know this, that is when we were basically told, well, that's the catalyst, I think, that part of the movement, when we were united and we got Ben Affleck to hashtag release Snyder Cut, Gal Gadot. I think Ray Fisher had done it way before that, but of course he did it. Ray Porter. I think Jason Momoa did it on Instagram. I don't know if he had a Twitter, but really in 2019, that's when we pretty much like united as a front. And so that's where I think Snyder fans kind of know each other mostly. And a lot of times we're avatars, or we're faceless beings, and we get labeled as bots, or we get labeled as toxic, or, you know, problematic. And that's why you're not getting this anymore. You're not getting that anymore. But unfairly, I would say, just from my perspective, are there toxic people with this movement? Yes, I would say, you know, to be fair, but there are toxic. We've seen what's happened with Star Wars. We've seen what's happened with Marvel. In my opinion, Marvel is some of the most toxic, in my opinion, but we'll get there. We'll get there another time. But shots fired. But any movement, yeah, gamers. There's even gamers, you know. Gamers are, you know, anime fans. So anyone can be toxic. But where I think YouTube really came into play for me was in 2020, seeing the faces and seeing the people behind the avatars and getting to see their personality. And you are somebody who, through Sill's channel, who I started to see as a guest on Sill's channel and then other channels as well. So what for you really motivated you to start camming up, putting your perspective out there?
Yeah, yo, it was pretty crazy. I can't remember which event that it was specifically, but something happened where Sill said something and everybody just started like going in and trying to call him all kind of names, and he was getting attacked over something. And I was just like, yo, like, this isn't cool. Like, this isn't right. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, nobody's really saying anything. Nobody's calling out that there's all this BS going on. And I was like, yo, I'm about to just start doing it. So, yeah, the first channel that I actually, you know, the first channel that I got on a few times was somebody who, you know, is not even really liked in our fandom. But like, I went over there because I was just trying to, you know, provide like some pushback, and those first few times went well. And then I actually, yeah, I was over on Mad Max's channel as a MME member for a little bit. And then I really just started locking in with Sill and him like full time after that. I mean, I already was before, but After that point, I really knew where my home was, and I found a way to navigate this YouTube thing, which was kind of a little tricky for me at first, right? But you know, you have to kind of bump your head so that you can know what not to do, right? And what pitfalls may lie before you, you know?
Exactly. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Dark Knight trilogy, so why do we fall, you know?
So we learn to pick ourselves up, right?
Exactly. So, you know, that kind of carries through, you know, I don't know if anybody knows this, or I'm sure this fandom knows this, but Zack Snyder was handpicked by Christopher Nolan because Christopher Nolan was offered to do Superman after the success of the Dark Knight trilogy. And he said,
yeah,
I can't do that, but I know who can.
Yep.
Right. So if anybody is a fan of Christopher Nolan and the Dark Knight trilogy, which I do hear a lot of, I don't know why you are going in so hard on someone who was handpicked by Christopher Nolan.
Hey, nah, I love me some Christopher Nolan and I love me some Zack Snyder, right? I'm going to go see Oppenheimer when it is released in IMAX, the way it's supposed to be seen at the one of only 30 theaters in the US that will be able to play this movie how it is officially supposed to be seen. The first film with black and white IMAX. Oh yeah, we in there. So I love me some Zack Snyder and I love me some Christopher Nolan. You ain't about to hear no slander about neither one of these men leave my lips here tonight. 100%.
And that's what I would say is the one thing that I would say is the link between Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder is there's a kind of higher concept storytelling in those films, right? Like there's something about those artists that draws a particular type of person to that work of art, you know? And so I do find it funny when I hear people, you know, kind of claim like, oh, you know, Zack's Dark Knight is so much better than, you know, balcony videos. We've seen a lot of those.
Hey, that first balcony video is legendary, huh, that grind. Like that, hey, that first one. If you know, you know.
Well, I don't know.
Oh man, nah. Hey, that's only built for Cuban links. It's still up there. Go check it out. But this ain't the stream to be talking about that video for. Nah. I'm gonna send it to you though.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna send it.
As I was saying, like it's just, you know, I think like the media and kind of like people online unfairly attacked Man of Steel. And I'll be honest, I admitted this to you and to Bat Dan when he interviewed me on his channel, that when I first saw Man of Steel, you know, I was kind of like mixed on it. I was like, I saw it with my ex-partner and I was like, I don't know if I really loved it, you know? And they were like, what? Like, are you sure? Are you sure? And then I watched it again because I was coming from Smallville. I know you haven't watched it, but there's, you know, 10 seasons of a show where character progression.
I just, man, I don't know. Wait, what year did Smallville start in?
2001. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, see, that's what it was. It was like, it was way too much football and basketball for me. I wasn't really watching many TV shows at that point. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why.
Okay, it makes sense. Yeah, Sin Havoc and Bat Dan are saying 2000. Yeah, we got to educate him. Sin Havoc 2001 was when Smallville. So
I've heard it's the greatest Lex Luthor ever, but I love me some Jesse Eisenberg, so I don't know.
I do, and that's the thing. There's been a lot of attacks on certain iterations, a certain casting, on certain, you know, like when Ben Affleck was cast, it was real toxic, right?
I remember.
Now look at the hashtag campaigns to get more of that, you know, universe. And
he's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT. I mean, so for me, I don't understand how people couldn't like it, but I just think it's a particular type of person that is drawn to Zack's work. But you also can't really judge the theatrical releases that Zack, you know, put out when it comes to BVS, because we know ever since the reception of Man of Steel, Warner Brothers was really messing with his art, right? And was doing things to him that they would probably never do to Christopher Nolan. And, you know, I get it. Nolan had gained them a lot of monetary success with his films, so he earned that right? So for Zack, they were putting all the pressure on him to build a universe.
Didn't Man of Steel make more than Batman Begins did?
I mean, people like to say Man of Steel was not a success, but
yo, that movie was pretty much pure profit when it came out. Like, he almost paid for the whole budget with product placement. Like, it's so crazy that they was even like meddling with his stuff so much, seeing as how the start made more than the Batman start did, and Superman is a much like, I mean, he's a much less cooler superhero than Batman is. Everybody loves Batman, right? It's not cool to like love Superman, right? You know, he's always kind of been like, oh, you love the most powerful comic book character ever created. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, it just kind of had that stigma to it. So Zack definitely humanized Clark and Superman and really reintroduced him to a whole new generation of fans.
I agree. And for me, rewatching Man of Steel, because basically what happened when I first saw it, I had a lot of preconceived notions of what it should be, because I was thinking I would get Tom Welling, right?
Yeah.
Even though it was clear that there was a guy named Henry Cavill who was built like a Superman way more than Tom Welling was, right?
Right.
But when the world and the concept didn't really match what I thought the adventures of Tom Welling would be, I was kind of disappointed, right? But that was me bringing my baggage to the film, that what I...
Oh, my God. See?
And it was not until I rewatched it after hearing from my partner, like, well, the film's not called Superman. And I was like, you're right. And he had just started becoming... He had just started wearing the suit, and he literally has to deal with a freaking Kryptonian invasion of Earth. He's literally dealing with an army of Kryptonians, you know? So I rewatched it and I was like, I get it. It's the start of a universe. It's building up a universe and therefore building Superman as the icon of that universe, right? So I started to see. And then when BVS was announced, I was like, oh, that's when I was like,
right.
Zack Snyder.
You know, it's so funny, right? Because I had the exact opposite take going in, because I didn't watch Smallville, right? So I'm thinking, oh shit, we got Superman that's about to be like realistic, like the Dark Knight. Oh, I'm all in, right? And then I saw it and it blew my mind, right? So I guess because I didn't watch Smallville, that it just, I was like, let's go. I was all in. Plus, it's like, the dude that did 300, like, get out of here. I'm all in, right?
And he gave us that Superman action that we have never ever seen on screen like before, with that Dragon Ball Z type, those angles and those fighting styles. So as purely like an action movie, when I first saw it, I admitted, I was like, oh, the action was amazing. It was just like blowing my mind, and it still holds up to this day. Congratulations on the 10th anniversary of Man of Steel, Zack Snyder. Congratulations to the cast and the crew. We just celebrated that this June 14th, I believe. And it's still such an amazing movie, right? Like,
we watched it at full circle, right? That was crazy. That was crazy. So Man of Steel, that might have been the best audience experience the whole weekend. Like, it was something different on that Friday, Like, it was something different.
So what was that like for you that day, that first day of full circle for you? Man
Oh my, look.
That's the way you met Zachary Edward Snyder.
Right? It's so crazy, because when I got my ticket, right? And I didn't tell the masses that I was going either, but and
I even asked you. I was like, "Oh, are you coming in?" Because I was like, I knew that you were like, you weren't really saying anything. You were like,
Nah. I had tickets. Hey, and shouts out to Leon too, because I initially didn't tell anybody just because I was kind of sick that morning. And so like right after I got the ticket, I just went to sleep. And like I woke up at like 1, 2 o'clock and I saw that everybody was talking about who got tickets and who didn't. And I was like, I'm just not gonna say anything, right? So, and then there did come a point where I was gonna tell everybody, and Leon was like, you know what? I don't think we should just say it. He was like, yo, let's just not say anything. So that was a complete Leon thing as to why it actually stayed that way, because there was going to be a point where I was gonna tell everybody. But being there on Friday was super dope. One, getting to break that surprise live on Austin's stream before we went, that was super dope. And then being there, right? Like, one, you know, you hope to meet Zack Snyder, obviously, right? But you don't know, you know, I didn't know if it was going to happen, right? I'm like, yeah, you know, you just never know, right? So we go there and we pull up. You know, I have the interaction with you, right? We're kind of chilling in line for a little bit. And then we're like, yo, let's go on over and go get a drink. So we go get drinks. Phil and I are there chilling, standing like right, like near the middle of like the little courtyard, right? Just totally taking in the vibe. And I go back to the bar to go get my second drink. Shouts out to the bartender too, who kept giving me drinks without taking my little ticket. That was dope. I had like 4 drinks and I was only supposed to get two for free. You know what I'm saying? But I ended up getting like 4. Shouts out to homie because he held it down. Right? He kept being like, nah, you don't give me the ticket. I was like, all right, hey, cool, right? So I go and I'm getting my second drink. And before I left the little bar area, I see Zack walking out. I'm like, oh man, right? Zack come walking out, walks over by the bar, like walks right in front of me, says hi to like what seemed to be like a group of his friends, and then he starts talking with one fan, right? And they talked for like a quick little second, and then he literally like took like 3-4 steps towards me, and I was the second person that he talked to. And so it's like right off the bat, right? Like we hadn't even been there 20 minutes, right? Like we haven't been there like 20. It's literally been like 20, 25 minutes at the most that we've been there. And I'm already talking to Zack Snyder, like face to face. Right, like literally, you know, and there were people there taking candid shots, which I didn't even know about till later. But yeah, I got to introduce myself, you know, and tell them who I was and, you know, what I had been doing. And our first little interaction was incredible, right? And then even after that, being able to ask him a question at the end of Seal's live video, right? That was amazing. Shouts out to Seal for getting that sound bite too, because man, it's like that was just crazy. And then we topped it off with actually getting to watch Man of Steel on the big screen for the first time in, you know, almost 10 years at that point. And that was just super special. So the first day of Full Circle is definitely something that will live on in my memory probably forever. And really, you know, it's pretty much just solidified because every day at Full Circle, we walked away with something for the community and for the fan base. So I'm just happy that we were able to do that for everybody because it certainly did feel special being a part of it.
Awesome. And I apologize because I did want to bring this up and I kind of got carried away because I got so excited about Full Circle. But one of the reasons why in my tweets that I kind of have called you and other members of the Cool Table Syndicate Network, Mikeyverse, fearless leaders is because you guys are simply fans who basically helped this fandom have hope. And what I'm talking about for people that don't know is after the Snyder Cut was released, so hashtag release the Snyder Cut was successful, right? November 2019, November 17th, 2019, we successfully
reached 1 million tweets.
Yes, we basically got WB's attention, and I got greenlit sometime after that or before. I don't know exactly the dates, but the Snyder Cut was greenlit, and subsequently,
yeah, they said that Toby Emmerich called Zack Snyder the next day.
Okay, so the next day,
yeah,
so Toby
the next day they started working on it.
Was the head, from what I understand, the head of WB Pictures, and was also involved with a lot of the Justice League. Joss Whedon directed 2017 version of Justice League. We don't have to get into any of that, but long story short, the 2017 theatrical cut was a horrible version of the movie that was not what Zack Snyder intended to release, and unfortunately was released with his name on it. So unfairly, he was criticized for making a trash film when that was not his film whatsoever.
Crazy.
So in 2019, we as the fandom came together to get that released, and it did. So although Zack was not working without restraints, like we know that he was still being reined in by the powers that be. And that's something that WB has been notorious of in the last 100 years of their existence. They have always kind of like shackled and, you know, compromised certain artists' work that was released under their banner or production. So that is something like the reshoots that Joss Whedon conducted. There was a lot of like corrupt unfairness and abuse that happened behind the scenes from what we understand as a fandom. So us campaigning for release was basically us trying to get what the name of the IP, Justice League, we were trying to get justice, right, for Zack Snyder and his family, because the headline that we heard was that after the unfortunate passing of Zack Snyder's daughter to a tragedy, he had to step away, right? And then it was presented as like he picked Joss Whedon to do his.
Yeah, and that he was just coming in to just finish the movie that Zack started and filmed, but in reality they reshot, re-edited, redid the entire movie in 5 months, pretty much.
So we were lied to, essentially. And I'll be honest, I drank the Kool-Aid, and there's still.
Oh, I did too. I did. Yo, I thought I even got mad at John Schmidt, right? Because like I'll never forget. Because during that time, every time like a DC movie was coming out right beforehand, there was always like some big controversy, right? Like remember they said Wonder Woman was like unwatchable. Right before Suicide Squad came out, it was some other rumor, right, about something crazy. It was like every time that one of these movies was coming out, there was always some big rumor. And then Justice League is about to come out, and here you have John Schmidt saying, "Yo, they're re-editing, redoing, rewriting the whole movie in 5 months." I'm like, man, there's no way they'd be that crazy to redo the Justice League movie in 5 months. Come on. But little did we know, Josh.
So yeah, we looked back now as a fandom, and you know, there's tweets you can look up, and I posted Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder together, united, and the Justice League, and I'm ashamed to have said that, you know, I drank the Kool-Aid. And so we learned as a fandom not to trust what the usual suspects, the Hollywood trades that are all owned by the same company. So if you didn't know that, like, just so you know, the major Hollywood trades are all owned by the same corporation. So we started to get wise on the antics that Hollywood was trying to give us when it came to Zack Snyder and his art. And the fans kind of took it upon themselves to take the narrative upon ourselves, right? So Snyder Cut was released and wildly successful, right? But WB never, ever acknowledged it or mentioned it. And to Zack, according to Zack Snyder, there was never any like thanks for doing this, like acknowledgement, no acknowledgement of the numbers or the success of it. And so these third parties started making up narratives of how horrible it did and it flopped, even though crashed servers all across the world, you know, like
Yeah,
got like
in almost every in almost every country that it was released in outside of the U.S., it like broke records, which is strange, right? Because you're trying to portray this thing as if it's some kind of flop when it literally was viewed like way more times than in-game in China, right? Like it literally was viewed way more times than in-game. And so when you have that, but then we're supposed to believe that in the US it was a flop, right? Like that's crazy.
So, and it's interesting too that, you know, we never got any acknowledgement of the success, right, of the Snyder Cut, but all these other third parties, for the most part, I think tried to like do WB's bidding and say, oh, it wasn't good. But then we had other say, yeah, you know, across other nations and outside the world, like we forget that this was a launch for HBO Max, right? Like the Snyder Cut was basically greenlit because COVID happened, Hollywood shut down, and they were like, crap, we can't make anything. Now we have to call this dude who we don't want to work with because we treated him so badly that all of our sins are going to get brought up if we start having to promote his art. They're going to give him a microphone. We're scared of what he's going to say because he has the attention, right? But Zack Snyder has never been the type of person to air out dirty laundry, right? He's always a guy. But so HBO Max was not global, right? So
not at all.
Pretty sure in some nations they put that on Netflix, right?
Oh yeah. And Germany was one of them, and in some other countries as well. And it did tremendous engagement everywhere outside of the HBO Max app. like literally, right? Everywhere where there was like some other company that didn't have anything to lose or gain by, you know, not supporting or showing support, they all said, hey, this movie's a smash hit, right? It's breaking records, it's doing crazy numbers, but just yet and still, somehow, HBO Max, it was apparently a flop. It's so weird. They did no marketing for that film. It was a completely like fan marketed thing. The only thing that they did was put out some trailers in terms of like releasing marketing on their social media. I don't believe that any of their main social medias, especially the Warner Brothers one, ever put out any trailers, ever shared any trailers, right? When, you know, you would think that they would, right? With it being under their banner.
Right. And so it's just weird how other platform that didn't own the content, right? Didn't create it, but they licensed it to other platforms. So successful. Okay, we're going to get there. We're getting there, guys. But so anyways, we started to get wise, right? We've known that we've been lied to by this company before. So when the numbers weren't coming out. Oh, also the Monday after the Snyder Cut released, we had Aaron Cernoff do an interview with the Hollywood Trade, basically saying we will not be continuing the Snyderverse, right? So an executive who works for WB cut the knees off of the Snyder Cut movement, or attempted to, by telling everyone the Monday after release weekend, you're not getting more of this. So
cul-de-sac.
Yeah, cul-de-sac. So multiple one who called it cul-de-sac, right?
Yeah.
So all these executive Snyderverse fans know about. So we just started being wise, right? Like, what's going on? Like, there's just too many questions. And so I wanted to get to this point why people are wondering, okay, so most people probably think, oh, it flopped, so they're not continuing. Well, that's not the case, because not only did it not flop, I forget when it was. I think it was the 1-year anniversary of the Snyder Cut. There was like, we passed Endgame as the most tweeted 1.5 million tweets with hashtag restore, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's not something that people really talk about, but Endgame was the #1 hashtag. And then it became restore. And so the fandom was going behind restore to get WB to give us more. But then all the while gaslighting the fans. And unfortunately, restore ended up not happening, because in December of 2022, we got an announcement from a former Marvel executive by the name of James Gunn, who announced that he would not be having Henry Cavill reprise his role as Superman, right? And for someone who's a fan of DC, that really depressed me and really just didn't make sense to me, right? Like, so a lot of the fans, unfortunately, you know, created hashtags to call for that person's job, and the other executive who was co-creator of DC Studios, because we were not happy. We are invested over 10 years. We've become invested with these characters, these actors, who has a narrative that is unfinished by the end of the Snyder Cut, right? The Snyder Cut is not the end of the story. It is the trilogy. This shirt right here represents the pentology of Zack Snyder's story, right? This is a visual representation of the characters, but there is another shirt that actually shows Zack's arc. And there were 5 movies planned originally. So we only got 3 of them, and we are still waiting on Justice League 2 and 3. So that's why hashtag restore was such a thing, but unfortunately went nowhere. So I was depressed, like I said. But the reason why I consider you an inspiration is because you are a outside the box thinker, and you had a bright idea using all the context clues of what I just talked about, right? Was probably something you considered. How did you come up with this idea that is hashtag sell ZSJL to Netflix, hashtag sell Snyderverse to Netflix?
Yeah, it really was putting together a whole bunch of these context clues. And it was actually, you know, this idea, it started because I was on, you know, I have like these playlists on my phone that I listen to sometimes, and I just put it on shuffle. And one day, just Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen came on, and I was just listening to the song, and I was thinking about that trailer, man. And I was like, yo, I have to go home and watch all the trailers. So I went home, I watched all the trailers. I watched all the little character spots that had got put out, right? Like the Batman trailer, the Superman trailer, like just all that stuff. And I watched the end of the Snyder Cut, and I was just like, yo, this can't be it, right? And I remember a few conversations with Leon, right? That is a name that is going to be coming up a lot when it comes to the sale thing, because Leon really has been like, yo, he's been invaluable, yo. Like it's crazy how much that he's helped me with this thing, even before he knew what was going on, right? Because I didn't tell him either, but I was just like, yo, man, this can't be the end. And I was just expressing like how mad that I was that this, like, we have to get an end to this story. And it dawned on me, I was like, yo, like, what's changed outside of, you know, the fact that Gunn and them has just said this? I'm like, yo, they still didn't want to give us the movie anyway. Like, this is probably just something that they just want us to go shut up now. And I was like, no, like, you know, and I was racking my brain. I'm like, yo, how can we get this thing to come to fruition while still acknowledging that they're going to reboot, right? And that was important for me, because I'm like, yo, we cannot just act as if they're not about to reboot this character. They just told us, right? And us not acknowledging that, I thought would have taken us nowhere. So, yeah, the thought and the idea that came to my head was, yo, they have to sell this thing to a third party. And there was precedence for this in the past. And when you look at, what made the most sense, it was Netflix, right? So, I ran the idea by Leon and Sil, and they both thought it was super dope. And then we put it out on stream, and it literally started trending within 24 hours.
And I think it was super smart of y'all because, like I said, we already had the Snyder Cut on other platforms, like particularly Netflix, and it was so successful, right? So yeah. People might not know this, but I didn't mention earlier, before James Gunn and Peter Safran took over DC Studios, there was a merger that happened. Discovery bought Warner Brothers Pictures as an entity. Therefore, all those executives that I mentioned who were gaslighting the fans, Toby Emmerich and Sarnoff, Walter Hamada, were removed, right? So there was a new leadership. And their initiative and their promise to the stakeholders was for DC Studios to be its own entity, modeled after the MCU, where Disney, which like Disney did, Disney owns Marvel, but Marvel Cinematic Universe is its own thing. Marvel Studios is its own thing. Disney Studios is its own thing. So they were modeling DC Studios that way. But I heard they had a hard time filling that job. And James Gunn and Peter James Gunn was actually, from what I understand, not even in the picture. It was Peter Safran.
It was really Peter Safran that they wanted, and he wanted a package deal because he needed somebody more in tune with the creative side of things.
So I from what I understand, they weren't the first, they weren't the second. I don't even know if they were the third choice. It was like the fourth or fifth, possibly. From what I understand, it might not be true, but I just hear things. And so it's interesting. Peter Safran did do Aquaman, he did Shazam, and then he did the Suicide Squad. All movies that happened after Zack Snyder was removed, right? So, and in those films, like, truth be told, like Aquaman made $1 billion, one of the most successful. The most successful. I would consider it Snyderverse. Some fans might not, but as far as Snyderverse having Snyder's actors, Jason Momoa was in the Snyder Cut, so I consider it Snyderverse. So it makes sense why Peter Safran would be offered the job, right? James Gunn had a controversy over at Disney, which I won't really go into, but he was fired and released and brought over by Peter Safran to do the Suicide Squad. From what I understand, that movie severely flopped. So it still blows my mind how
lost over $100 million.
Yeah, it still blows my mind how these jobs were filled. But I think they got desperate. They just needed to, for the press, for the stakeholders, they needed to fill the job, right? And they brought in people who I don't think they knew exactly what the plan was. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But completely announcing a reboot in December of 2022, when you still had major films slated for 2023, four movies.
Four movies.
Shazam, Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman. So basically, James Gunn did a big presentation for the media and the Hollywood trades, telling the public these movies don't matter, in my opinion.
Right.
So your hashtag was a way, it was smart, because let's look at the big picture. The Batman, if people don't know, that was co-opted. That's the title that Ben Affleck started, right? That was the name of his movie that we are still waiting on and still campaigning for. But Matt
stings, right?
It stings. And I'm still waiting. But that's a franchise.
We're gonna get it on Netflix, you know what I'm saying?
Gonna get it. But that's a completely universe unbeknownst to itself, right? It operates outside now of anything else due to Matt Reeves's demands. He does not want to connect to any other movie, right? in my opinion, from what I see, is that most general audience members, which is where you get the billion-dollar films from, they kind of want an investment. They want a style that is like an MCU type film. They want these films to matter and they want them to connect. So by announcing that you're rebooting and recasting, why is the audience going to spend their time, money, and energy on movies when they don't matter? So that segues into, you know, why would you do that? And I think there was a lot of self-sabotage done to DC in a specific fandom that is not really fair, but it is what it is. And so this executive, though, has called out your movement specifically. And I think, just from my own perspective, you know, I think it's because they're a little threatened that this could possibly happen.
Hey, I don't know. I just know this, right? James Gunn, we have a little bit of a history, right? James Gunn literally, and I'm going to keep saying this, right? Because this is when everything first kind of got wacky, right? Because when it was first announced that him and Peter Safran were taking over, I literally, those streams are still up, right? If you look on the headline, on the video, I actually called it a fresh restart, right? Because I thought that it was going to be cool. I thought that he had a golden opportunity to bring Zack back, you know what I'm saying, and get some goodwill with the fan base before his eventual reboot that we all knew was coming, right? Because we all know and understand that he was going to want his own characters in there and to tell his own story. What's up, Austin and Mikey in the building, right? Wait. And then yeah, so I am saying that live on stream, right? I'm saying, hey, let's give this guy a chance. He can bring Zack back and all these things and everything's gonna be fine. And then literally he goes on Twitter and likes a tweet that was going directly at me in the cool table. Like, this is like not like, oh, we think it was about you or I think it's about, no, it literally said James Gunn and people in Hollywood do not like people like Sky and the cool table. And James Gunn liked it, right? So I was like, this is interesting, right? And this is way before it fell. So our history kind of starts there. So I'm well aware that, and neither one of us was tagged or mentioned in that tweet, Josh, right? Either. So he had to search for that tweet, right? But, you know, not only, oh my God. Yo, so not only did this happen, right? But you know, yeah, he called my hashtags the wackiest hashtags he's ever seen. Right? He said that, you know, and literally, Josh, I'm like, yo, there's no way that these are the wackiest hashtags you've ever seen. There's no way. Because I saw some hashtags like fire James Gunn, fire Gunn and Safran, boycott WBD, right? All kinds of stuff, calling out James Gunn and his tweets and all. I'm like, but sell ZSJL to Netflix and sell Snyderverse to Netflix are the wackiest hashtags that you've ever seen. So clearly.
He had acknowledged other hashtags, right? Like hashtag save Legends of Tomorrow, hashtag release. But he specifically called out your hashtags as the co-CEO of DC Studios. You're supposed to, I would say, want to, you know, galvanize the fans of this material and this IP, right? So why are you going after this fractious fandom, but specifically your hashtags?
Bro, it's like at every turn, this dude has tried to like bury anything that, you know, and like we've seen it, right? Like, you know, at the cool table and with the cell movement, like we don't focus on that stuff, but we've seen the blatant attempts to step on any type of Zack Snyder related announcement, right? Like every time Zack does something, James Gunn comes out and does something similar. Like we've seen it all, right? So with that being said, I think that the fact that, you know, he did call out our hashtags in that manner only leads me to believe that, you know, we're really on the right path. And I think that the progress that we've made, you know, kind of since he's been doing all these things in spite of what he has been doing, only speaks to what, you know, we've kind of been doing as a group. And he, you know, people that are against what we're doing, Josh, they're not going to really have any impact on our work ethic or what we're doing, right? We are doing this strictly for the people that believe in what we're doing, and we think that we have a great chance of this actually happening, and that's why we go so hard to you know, get this thing done, because you know, it's possible and it's happening. I think it's happening right before our very eyes, Josh, if you can read the tea leaves.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing that about, you know, the Cool Table, Mikeyverse, Syndicate Network is you guys are organized, but you're smart. You have rules of engagement, right? Because I talked about the headlines and the Hollywood trades labeling this fandom as toxic, right? You guys didn't want the same thing to happen once again, because when you get labeled as toxic, just like, you know, Star Wars fans have been, or gamer fans or anime fans, you know, then people stop taking you seriously. You know, oh, they're just toxic. They're all just toxic, and they just label everyone, right? So you guys had engagement to specifically avoid that, and it was smart.
Yeah.
And because you're so organized and you think outside the box, I think certain executives are not a fan of you because you're smart, you know, because
right.
And here's the thing. The reason why I really am inspired by you guys is because predominant members of hashtag release were telling us going into Full Circle, this is Zack's farewell, right? And I was kind of, once again, started drinking the Kool-Aid, because they started saying, oh, you know, someone who's been in a toxic relationship, they're like, oh, he was in a toxic relationship, so why would he go back? Why would you go back? And I was like, okay. So I was watching you guys' streams, obviously, but I didn't know how Zack felt, right? And so you talked about earlier the first day of Full Circle, Man of Steel, where you got to meet Zack Snyder. You brought up that you were the creator of hashtag Cell.
Yeah, in my first conversation with Zack, in my very first conversation,
what was that,
where y'all saw us taking the selfie together, right? I was like, Zack, look, bro, like, my name is Skiiwalker the Jedi. I'm the creator of the hashtag Sales ZSJL to Netflix movement. You know, I'm the one that went to Stone Quarry and took the picture with the poster, and he was like, oh, I saw that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hey, yeah, right. So he already knew right off the bat, right? And I was like, yo, you know, I just want you to know, bro, like, we rocking out with you to the very end. You know, like, we trying to get this thing done, bro. And pretty much, you know, as the homie Leon always say, you have our sword and our shield. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we rocking out with you, bro. 100%. And Zack was like, look, I know the effort that it takes to, like, do these types of things. And he's like, I just respect the effort and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, hey, this is crazy. Right? That Zack is literally saying, like, yo, like, I appreciate the effort that you guys are putting in right? And you know, we had like a quick little back and forth about something. You know, I ain't gonna go into all that, but I was like, you know, look, like, thank you, you know, and after that quick little exchange, that's when I took that selfie, and Zack literally like put his arm around me, and he was like, "Yo, like, I got to get on my tippy toes because I don't want to look too short." And I was like, "Hey, bro, whatever you're gonna do," you know what I'm saying? So that's why he looked all tall standing next to me. But yo, that was like such a great moment. But to actually be able to hear that, you know, he was appreciative of the effort, if not anything else, that was truly, truly special.
Yeah, I you know, it was great to see that you guys were, you know, just you connected right away. And Zack was just such a down to earth. I was dressed as Superman that first day, and Zack, like, from my experience, he's just everything that you hear about everyone in his cast, and his production, and his crew.
Zack and Debbie.
Yes.
Zack and Debbie.
Debbie,
like legends.
Wife and producing partner, if people don't know, is amazing. And that was just one of the things that it makes it, to people who don't understand why there's not more Snyderverse, we have the same question, because the man is so genuine and just so down to earth. I think that he actually sticks out of the Hollywood, you know, bubble, because he's so genuine, because he and his wife congregate genuine people like them, right? And that leads to relationships and bonds forming, so that you want to work with the same people over and over again. And I think that it was so cool to see people acknowledge you, because in my opinion, people knew who you, if I knew who you were, all of the fans knew who you were, because we've all congregated on Twitter. We all kind of have seen the streams, and we've all been invested in wanting more Snyderverse. So ultimately, whether they love or hated you, they knew who you were, right? So it was awesome.
Hey, yo, it was dope, right? Because, like, yo, definitely, I will just say this. Everybody that came up and spoke to Seal, Leon, or I was amazing. Right, everybody that came up and spoke to us, they was dope, you know. And there was some people that we know that knew who we were that didn't speak. You know what I'm saying? But it's all gravy too, because that spoke volumes.
Yeah, they. So okay, so that was the first day of Full Circle, right?
Yeah, first day was wacky.
So we're gonna get into the second day, because I have something that you sent me that I want to, you know, play for everybody that doesn't know. I'm sure most of the people know, but how was day 2 for you, BVS day?
Man, BVS day was insane, because, you know, as most of you guys know, I almost didn't even go on Saturday. If Leon and Steele were not here, I probably wouldn't even have went. There's a great chance. I was so sick Saturday morning. It was crazy. I woke up, I think it was like 4 or 5 in the morning. I was just throwing up like all morning long, Josh. Like, I was just throwing up, right? And so I almost didn't even go. Like, I was this close to not going, but Sil and Leon, I guess, had just made some kind of silent pact that it didn't matter what was going to happen. They were going to drag me, even if I'd have tried to say no, right? So, you know, with me being like so like sick and not feeling well, the fact that everything that came out of Saturday, the fact that that happened, it makes me very, very grateful that Phil and Leon were there, because if these things would not have come out from this day, I'm not sure where our movement would be right now. So just outside of that, but Saturday was monumental for me. Finally getting to really link up with Leon, because he wasn't there on Friday. That was super special. And just being in the building with so many Snyder fans, and, you know, Saturday was just an amazing day. Even if I wasn't feeling well, it was so hard for me, right? But once again, if I didn't go Saturday, I wouldn't have seen you, which means I probably wouldn't have worn the suit on Sunday, right? Because look, that's what I'm. Look, there were so many dominoes that just fell into place this whole weekend. It was crazy. It was really crazy.
I said this to you before, and I really do think Full Circle was like stuff happening at the right time for the right reasons. And I think you being there and seeing me dressed as Batfleck
with the cowl, bro. When I saw the cowl, it was over. I was like, yo, they said no costumes. My man got a cowl on in here with a cape. Ain't no way I'm not. I'm like, yo, no, I'm wearing that suit tomorrow, and I don't care, right? Because I was gonna wear the Man of Steel suit on Friday, right? And I was gonna chill on Saturday and then wear the black suit on Sunday, but I didn't wear the Man of Steel suit because there was like no costumes, and I saw what you had on, and I was like, okay, I see how they could have let him in with that on. And then when I saw the cow, I was like, oh, no. That's it. Like, suit coming tomorrow. So shouts out to you, bro, for real.
No problem. Because here's the thing. I was never, like, I go to Comic-Con. I go to San Diego Comic-Con since 2016. My first Comic-Con was in 2016. During that panel, Zack Snyder, Rick Famuyiwa, David Ayer, Patty Jenkins,
oh my God,
all came out to reveal the director.
Peak hype.
And Ben Affleck. I forgot about the director, Ben Affleck.
Peak hype, right?
we had the director's panel of the Snyderverse. We had the Justice League panel where they revealed the first picture of the Justice League lineup with Henry Cavill making a surprise appearance because, he was dead. And then the Suicide Squad panel. So it was freaking amazing and electric. Okay. Then I go to 2017, it was amazing, but they were promoting Justice League and there was a completely different demeanor, especially in Ben Affleck, the leader of the Justice League. Right. So for me, I was like, I saw Zack Snyder at my first Comic-Con and I was like, I need to meet this man. I need to celebrate his work after seeing BVS and how amazing it was. And, Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman, and then getting to see the Snyder Cut. So for me, I was like, there's no way I'm not going to celebrate. I'm a passionate person. I'm a passionate fan. So I'm going to celebrate it. So what I did is I think I told you this. I put like the mask underneath my shorts, and I was going to tell them like, oh, it's a knee brace if they said anything. Because I was like, I'm going to show Zach that I'm a fan and I want to see more Batfleck. And so sure enough, I did. So I'm glad I was able to inspire you because BVS Day was amazing. It's one of my favorite movies. I consider it a masterpiece. That sound in the Art Center, College and Design, sitting in that room with a bunch of fans watching a movie that, yes, we've seen many, many times, but it was just so electric being in there with them. And there was a Q&A afterwards, they revealed the Trinity statues, which I pre-ordered. I forget what not Iron Studios, maybe Iron Studios, but basically they had Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman statues that were benefiting AFSP. So of course I had to have some of those. But after the Q&A, which was electric, there was like a mic drop moment by by Zack Snyder and the VFX supervisor on his projects, DJ, which I clearly heard you still and Leon very loudly respond to. So after the panel, I think most people in the chat know what happened. Jeff Johns, who is a predominant comic book writer, wrote Flashpoint and also wrote Doomsday Clock. And a fan asked Zack Snyder if he would ever want to adapt Jeff Johns' work. Unfortunately, Jeff Johns was behind. He was a executive for Warner Brothers during the Justice League reshoots where Joss Whedon butchered Zack's film, right? So when that mic drop moment happened, we were lit, right? We were like, "Oh my god!" I was jumping up and down on camera. You can see me in the Vero stream. I was so excited. So something happened for you personally that was pretty exciting, right?
Oh yeah.
So,
oh yeah.
Should I show it first, or do you want to talk about it first?
Nah, go ahead and show it, and then we will talk about it, and then while that's playing, you can read what I just put in the back chat.
All right, cool. I don't know. I've never done this before, so if it messes up, please bear with me. Do I need to remove you first, or just play it?
No. Hey, just hit the play button. Yeah, right, cool. Or just.
Oh man! Look, we are approaching the man himself, Zack Snyder. Zack, yo, big, huge fan, yo. If you could sign for me, and it would make my entire life, Zack. Yes. If you could sign the hashtags that I put out, sales ZSJL to Netflix and sales Snyderverse. Yo. Woo! Hey, is he gonna do it? I don't know. Yo. Oh my God. Ah, yes. I love it. Thank you so much, Zack. You're amazing, sir. Can't wait to be here tomorrow and to finish this whole thing out. Exciting. Yes. For sure. Yo.
Hey, just so that you guys know, he didn't write my hashtags that I asked him to write. He put hashtag Snyderverse and then sell it right under that with some exclamation points. You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely like a major moment for our campaign and for our movement. The best thing was Seal's reaction when he saw what the poster said. Like, cause nobody knew. We didn't tell anybody. We saw people at the Seal Nation meetup later that night. We didn't tell anybody there. Nobody knew, right? But they all knew about this bomb. But Seal's reaction was the greatest. He was like, yo, like, Zack wrote that. And I was like, yeah, but he was like, Zack wrote that. Like, seriously? I was like, yeah, bro. He was like, nah. He was like, bro, like, that's it. Like, y'all got everything you need to carry this thing on through to fruition, bro. Like, that's it. That's it right there. Like, and I was like, oh man, that's yeah, that was one of the best moments. And that's really a true moment that only Leon, Phil, and I share. But to have that poster to be able to share with the rest of y'all, and and it's so crazy too, because I just randomly decided that I was going to ask him that while we was in line, right? Because I was already kind of mad because I had bought the posters on Friday, but I was so sick on Saturday that I just forgot to bring them. I was like, man, I got to buy these posters again. I was like, all right, so what am I going to ask him to like sign? I was like, I got to have him sign something. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask him to put the hashtags. And then literally that moment happened. So it was super dope. And I'm glad that he was able to kind of give us that stamp of approval, because I know that Zack wouldn't have signed that if he didn't believe in what we were doing. And I know, coming out a full circle, that he damn sure does believe in what we doing, 100%. So getting that acknowledgement was super dope. And I thought it was going to unite everybody, but it seemed to kind of have a varying effect on people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. You know, once again, I go back to the fact that, you know, let's be honest. Okay, let's be honest. You talked about it. Like, you asked him to write the hashtag, which is hashtag sell ZSJ out of Netflix, sell Snyderverse to Netflix. However, you know, from a legal standpoint, Zack he works for Netflix, guys. If y'all don't know, if I didn't bring this up earlier, Zack went over to Netflix. He's working with Scott Stuber, who is one of his longtime creative partners, and he's being taken care of very well by Netflix right now. He successfully released Army of the Dead, which got a theatrical release and was wildly successful on Netflix. He did a spin-off movie, Army of Thieves, which is also successful. And now he is going to be coming out with Rebel Moon, his version of Star Wars that was by Disney, which will be coming out December 22nd. And I believe Aquaman actually moved a few days away from it for some reason, which is kind of weird. But Aquaman 2 and Rebel Moon will both be going head-to-head in December later this year. So it makes sense to me why you use Netflix, right? Because Zack is over at Netflix. But Zack needs to be cautious how he, you know, negotiations can happen, but maybe another party might be interested and the bidding war could start, right?
Zack can't speak for Netflix, yo. And him signing the poster like that. I mean, look, first, we knew that Zack can't really speak on Netflix's behalf because when we were trying to get our first t-shirts onto Ink to the People, right? Necron and them, they were going back and forth, and the people from Ink to the People actually reached out to somebody in Zack's camp, Wesley, right? And they took a look at the design and they came back and said, hey, can you guys just take the Netflix part out and then everything else is good? And we were like, yo, sounds cool to us, right? So it seemed like they were with it, right? So, you know, I knew that it was going to be a long shot getting him to actually sign the hashtags, but I'm glad that I asked him to do that, and I'm glad that he signed it in the way that he did. Because I actually believe that it means more for me to ask him to sign my hashtags and then he put his own twist on it while still accommodating what he knew that I was asking him for, if you get what I'm saying, right? And so I think that Zack is all in with the sale movement, y'all. I think he's all in, right? And maybe I even asked him. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Who knows what we talked about?
If you're on Replay Crew, you would have saw at the beginning of this stream, I played, so that was day 2, right? Where you got the official hashtag sell it, where Zack slyly, and just, if you watch the play-by-play on Sil's channel, where he did the freeze frame, you can see Zack's reaction. He's giving you a smile.
Right? Yo, oh wait, and then what isn't even on camera, Josh, right? Is he kept pump faking, right? Because I was trying to film it, but I was like so caught up in the moment. He kept pump faking, right? Like he kept like going like, right? Like, I was like, dude, like, what is he gonna write? That's why I said, like, yo, is he gonna do it? Like, what is he gonna, you know? But man, it was a super dope moment, and yeah, Zack, man, he knew the whole weekend. All I was talking about was sale. Like he knew what I was coming with, yo, 100%. So it wasn't no surprise, right? Zack wasn't taken off guard. This man literally knew, like, every time I bumped elbows with him. Even on that video, real quick, after we saw him, I made another comment when we were going into the theater. I'm like, yo, hey, Zack, you know this sale thing, we gonna get it done, bro. Like, I'm telling you, right? So every single time, it was always about sale. So anybody saying that Zack was cornered or was just signing something for a fan, right? You guys clearly weren't there and don't know that it was quite to the contrary.
So I just want to actually, now that I have you, you talked about how you directly, not only did he sign your poster, but you directly asked him in front of a live stream audience around the world your specific question. Can I play that real quick, just so everyone is able to see it while you are here, so we can talk about how you felt during this moment?
Wait, real quick, let me add this part in, because I also want to touch on this, because I also asked him a question, because you had said you asked him a question live, and I was like, I actually asked him on Seal's live stream, right, on Friday. I was like, hey, can you speak to the resolve of your fan base now that we're trying to get this thing sold to a third party? So I was once again asking him about Sale, and what did Zack say? He was like, yo, fans always find a way to win. Like, you know, and I was like, yeah, right. So I was literally on Seal's live stream. Right? Man, telling y'all, yo.
So
telling y'all.
It's only further. So this video is, the first clip was actually a clip from the AFSP volunteer who took pictures of me and you. But I'm going to play this part because the part of, basically the question was asked to Zack, what would you give advice to people who are just starting out, you know, basically in film school, but also I think it applied to, like, you know, wanting to do art in general. And his quote kind of really speaks to the type of person that you are, and help. I think his answer kind of galvanized and makes me think of you as the type of person that you are, because, well, I'm just going to play it and then it segues into your question real quick. All right. So it might get a little choppy. I'm sorry. I'm going to share my screen, but let's see Sky's question to the man himself. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. Got to share my screen.
All good. Yo, you were at 22 subs, yo. What kind of, that's crazy growth, bro.
Shout out to everyone. All right, here we go. I think I figured it out. Can you see it now?
Yes.
All right, let's play this.
You know, you are the thing. Like, your point of view is the commodity that you have. The way you see is no one else has that but you. And so, however you exercise that, do it to its fullest. You know, don't be afraid of it. Don't shy away from it. If you think it's weird, doesn't matter. It's cool. So that to me is the thing I always say. You know, you're the only you there is. So, you know, I want to see what you do.
This question is for Zack Snyder. Zack, my name is Skiiwalker the Jedi. I've been on a little bit of a hero's journey myself with you and your projects, right? Seeing this thing here is truly a moment that has brought this entire new sale campaign into a full circle moment, if you will. My question for you, sir, is would you be overjoyed if your stories were able to continue in any form, even if it was on a third party outside of WBD?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's fair and it's exciting. And look, I love the world, and obviously, I've not put a small amount of effort into into this mythology. And you know, we have done also a small amount of work toward what the eventualities of these scenarios might be. With my experience with you guys and with this material has been incredibly satisfying, and I couldn't be happier with the way that you guys have been able to deviate therapy, right? And so, yes, would I be interested in whatever medium or whatever way these ideas would continue? Of course I would. But
yeah,
woo!
So we heard it from the man himself. Yes, in any form, any platform, he would do it. So for people that were saying this was going to be the farewell of the Snyderverse, you're wrong.
That's a hell of a farewell to me. And hey, look, also, Josh, in the next question that was not asked by me, Ben Affleck actually reiterated and answered my question himself and was pretty much like, yeah, like wherever his thing goes, it can be dope. Like Chris Terrio was kind of alluding to it, right? Like, yo, there were multiple people on that stage that all alluded to this thing being something that they all were on board for.
So that for me personally, like I kind of said earlier, like for me, you know, of course I was supporting you guys, but I kind of was drinking Kool-Aid from the usual suspects in the Snyderverse movement who was saying, oh, why are you going to go to a toxic relationship again? I was like, true, from somebody who was, well, maybe Zack doesn't want to. So should I not be hashtagging this? But actually it made sense. Well, you're not going back to a toxic relationship. You're going to a new relationship and continuing it somewhere else. You get all the perks, but you don't
none of the baggage.
But none of the baggage. So that's all I needed to hear. So shout out to you for wearing the black suit. There was a clip on Twitter that you can look up, but specifically Darkseid, Ray Porter himself, who was moderating, pointed at you and said, that man right there.
In the third row.
Yeah. By Ray Fisher Cyborg. Oh, Black Superman. Zack Snyder saying, "Oh, the one with the Kryptonian symbolism
in his chest, right?" Oh no, it was 100%. I was definitely in row C. Rhea, another content creator, wonderful content creator, wonderful person. She was there. She was sitting right in front of Seal Leon and I, just off to the left. She confirmed that they pointed at me, right? Like, so. Yeah, there was a premise that I stole a question. Right? It says, "Hey, like Sky stole that question." Like it was utterly ridiculous. You pointed straight at me.
I had to cut the clip for the Twitter. I can only upload 2 minutes and 20 seconds. But when you I had to trim it out. But when you stood up, you said, "Can everybody hear me?" And everyone was like, "Yeah." And you had a reception because people were excited because we knew what you were about to ask. Word.
Zack knew what I was. Yo, everybody knew what I was about to ask. Yo, Ray knew.
Zack wanted you to ask that question.
Ray knew, Leon knew, Phil knew, Zack knew. Like everybody in there knew what I was about to ask that man. He said, "Did you ask permission to ask for permission?" Yo, I get. You know what's funny too? Is that this is also like a little quick little story, and why Ray Porter even goes like, "Yeah, you," because I was confused at first because I thought he was trying to pick me, right? But then there was a guy like that was kind of not parallel, but he was like kind of like catty corner to me, like 2 or 3 rows back. That I was like, was he pointing at him or me? And he said third row, and Leon looked at me like, "Bro, you better get up! Like, what's wrong with that?" Leon was like, "Bro, you better get up! Like, he's talking to you." And then I looked, and I was like, "Is he?" And I was like, "Oh shit, he is!" And I was like, so I stood up, right? And yeah, so the premise that I was, it was always ridiculous, right? Like, but it was a great moment, and I'm glad that I was able to ask that question in front of everybody because it ended up, really being something that people could point to because nobody really else was asking about Sailor. People weren't asking about the future, right? Like, that's what I kind of thought was weird. It was like, there were people asking questions about, this and that in the past. And I was like, let's talk about the future. Like, why is anybody asking about the future? And I felt like that was the first time that he was really asked. And, it was funny because the first 2 nights, of course, I was hoping to get picked, but I didn't. But a little insider thing, I kind of had a feeling that I was going to get picked at some point, though, only because on Friday, the moderator, he didn't even look our way when he was picking people, Josh. Like, Sil and I talked about it. I was like, yo, like, he wasn't even, like, when he was picking people, he wasn't even looking over in this direction.
You talking about BVS or Man of Steel?
No, Friday, Man of Steel Day, right? Like, and in between questions and him picking people, he would be looking dead at us. And then picking people, he's like, he just was veering away from our side. I was like, yo, I wonder if I'm gonna get a question one of these. And lo and behold, Sunday, the last day, it was like, hey, everybody's here, Venus here, hey, guy in the third row with the Kryptonian symbol on his chest. Give that man a question. Right? Yeah. No, 100%. 100%.
And it really galvanized the fandom, and myself included. So I want to thank you for being brave and fearless, for not only wearing the full black suit, which got me and you access to cut the line to meet Zack Snyder during Animation, which we were just there.
Dude, I had just kind of came out of like fucking changing, and I was talking to Leon and stuff. Leon walked away, you walked up. We was just there chilling. And the lady from AFSP walked up and was like, yo, y'all want to meet Zack? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, yo, come with me. She marched us straight over there, and we cut the entire line. It was like, yo. And she was like, hey, Zack, take a picture with these two right now. I was like, hey, dope.
Shout out to Kate Vogel with AFSP.
We snapped that picture. I was like, hey, Zack, sell, bro. Just so you know.
And that was really cool because it's immortalized on Vero's YouTube live stream. If you need to go watch the stream, you can't see Sky because they didn't have a camera to operate for the audience, but you can hear him because he was loud. They asked him if he could be loud, and he was loud. Everyone cheered for you when you said that. And you got a great reception. I had to cut off the video, but you had a great reception when Zack said, yes, I would be interested. So the reception on Twitter was interesting after you revealed, because you waited till after Full Circle to reveal the poster. And you even came up to me after the Q&A and told me, hey, dude, I know you don't watch live, but I have a stream on Tuesday. You're going to want to watch.
I was like, bro, y'all better watch Tuesday because I got the Moab, bro. I got the Moab, the mother of all bombs. And I was like, yo, this is crazy.
And there's a lot of antis that basically started coming and trying to discredit you and looking up old hashtags. And apparently, I'll bring it up because somebody notorious has said that you were not the creator of hashtag sell Snyderverse to Netflix.
Right, which I wasn't, right? Leon was the one that first tweeted that out in addition to the sell ZSJL to Netflix hashtag, right? And he did that because it really encompassed everything else that we were like, you know, gonna be asking for, right? Like the Batfleck movie, the Ayer cut, Man of Steel 2, Wonder Woman 3, like whatever people wanted to ask for, they could incorporate that into the second hashtag. But the first hashtag was always our banner. I'm sure that Leon, because just like me, we had no knowledge that somebody had tweeted out a hashtag like a year and a half prior, that none of us followed this person, like, you know. So, and that was the only thing, that was the only time that, you know, that hashtag was probably ever used by that same person. I've only seen that one tweet, right? So, you know, shouts out to whoever that was for including that hashtag with the other hashtags that they had in that tweet, which were not having anything to do with what we were doing with the cell movement. But yeah, we're just you know, this thing was really born from a great place, and nobody can say that they can find a tweet with a hashtag sales ZSJL to Netflix before I said it on stream. That's an absolute fact.
Sure enough. And here's the thing, like it's been said on other streams, but here's the thing. Where was that? Whoever did hashtag sell Snyderverse Netflix, where were they? Were they at Full Circle? Did they dress up as black suits, man? Did they have
I want to know
with Zack Snyder?
Where were they when James Gunn called the hashtag wacky, right? Were they participating in the trending events? Where were they when the Forbes article came out? Because it's like we've been making so much noise that it's like, yo, why? You know, I would have thought that this would have come up sooner, but I guess, you know, it only happened. And this is even a recent thing, like recent within the last like couple weeks. So this was like a after Full Circle, after this thing started kind of becoming obvious that it might happen type of thing, right? Like now it's like, oh, but the hashtag is stolen. It's like, wait, you guys have been saying that we were wasting our time. We didn't ask for permission from Zack Snyder. We needed to move on. All these different things, and now it's but you guys stole the hashtag though. It's
well, here's the thing.
It's really comical.
Even if you did, even let's say devil's advocate, even if you did steal the hashtag, who else is doing charity streams? There has been you guys at the Cool Table, the Syndicate Network, Mikeyverse, Sill Nation are doing an event called Cartoons and Cereal, right? And that is because the Justice League animated series that came out in 2001 is on Netflix. All the seasons of Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, the sequel series, are on Netflix right now. So you guys are doing an engagement event with your own customized t-shirts by the world-renowned Noel Leon Flores. Shout out to the Mikeyverse, because Into the People has basically made you guys t-shirts to sell in support of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So you guys are organizing this fan base to actually help save lives of real people and support a charity that is near and dear to my heart as somebody who has been affected by suicide. So even if you did steal the hashtag, you are a fearless leader, Sky, in my opinion, because
I got you. And we didn't, but you know, it's so like rest easy knowing that, you know, we certainly did not come out here on no copy and paste type energy, right? That definitely was not what this thing was. But yes, I, as a combat veteran, right, I was part of the United States Army, right? That is something that was and remains a big part of my life. I still wear my dog tags pretty much every day out. I don't wear them on stream because they make noise when I'm moving. But, you know, when I'm out, I got to ask Leon and Seal. Ask anybody that saw me at Full Circle. I had them things on, right? Like they was clanging. So, yes, I have also been affected by suicide from multiple battle buddies since we've come back from Iraq. So AFSP definitely is something that is near and dear to my heart as well. So, you know, we take this thing very seriously in the way that we move this campaign, and, you know, doing cartoons and cereal and raising money for suicide prevention while also bringing awareness to like a franchise that I love and is very near and dear to me. It just feels like a way to win on so many different levels, and it just really makes it easier to be able to do these types of things.
So is this the link, or is there a new one? Because I was trying to look real quick, and I don't know if it's.
Oh, no. It was hashtag sales. No, it was /sales ZSJL. But stay tuned because there will be an announcement very soon. We just had our last run close out. There will be another run going up very soon. So I would advise everybody to tune in to some of these streams coming in the very near future.
And I believe tomorrow is your part 7 of
Cartoons and Serial, right? Where we're finishing up season 1 of Justice League Unlimited, right? And probably going to go into season 2 and get a bunch out of that. We are doing this new format where the entire cool table is like multi-streaming it. So everybody can just go on any of the 4 channels. Myself, El Necron, Leon of the New Geeks, or the Good Austin. And it combines all of the chats. So it doesn't matter which room that you are in, whoever is running, we will all be able to see all of the chats that come through. So it's super dope, and we are definitely looking forward to that. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow, because there will be some cool announcements as well, right?
So I've been pleasured to have been invited by you and the cool table to join in Cartoons and Serial. Unfortunately, I will be going to a local comic book convention tomorrow in San Antonio, so I'm gonna miss it. But I will definitely try in between panels and my photo ops and whatnot. I will be definitely tuning in to check you guys out, because Justice League Unlimited is amazing.
Look, it said we stole the hashtags, we stole the mic. We cornered Zack Snyder. You know what I'm saying? I was hey, yo, Josh, you would have thought that we would have gotten thrown out of full circle, right? Like,
you're toxic, Sky. You're super toxic.
Were we causing problems like that, bro? Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man.
I think you're galvanizing this fandom is what you're doing, and certain CEOs don't like that when they're trying to launch a cinematic universe that's not really in for everybody. Like, not everybody's drinking that Kool-Aid, because we've drank enough Kool-Aid, right? So yes,
hey,
I 100%. Like, I respect if the other CEO wants to do his, that's fine. But look at what's happening at Warner Brothers. There is cinematic universes happening everywhere. So why not this one? Okay, you don't want to do this one. The fans are giving you a platform and an avenue to put it elsewhere, but you don't want it. Why? Is it because you're threatened somehow? And I think that's the case, because the pushback that you got after the poster, Sky, it was just ridiculous. And
it was specifically after the poster. Like, yo, me meeting Zack, I mean, look, they was already mad, right? And it's funny because we definitely know that it was after the poster, because it was 2 days later, Josh. Like, it was 2 days after it ended. You know, Monday, it's like, yeah, they was mad, but, you know, after that poster came out, Josh, it went to a whole new level. Like, everybody flipped out. It was like, oh my God, you know, the scrolls were revealed.
There's been a lot of people who've infiltrated this movement. That's something I believe, and they are trying to make it crumble from within. Not #sell, but just restore, you know. And look at this. You've also, Necron is bringing up that you've also raised over $1,000 for AFSP with the shirts. So
pretty much, right? Yeah,
you guys, because I'm still waiting on my first shipment to arrive, but my second shipment I got shipping notification, and I'm gonna be sporting these during San Diego Comic-Con, because this is an avenue, and this is something that me as a fan of this art and this franchise and this IP, I'm 100% rocking with, because not only mentioned earlier, you're a combat vet. Shout out to you and Leon for your service.
Leon is a vet as well. Shouts out to the homie Leon, right?
And when Man of Steel was being promoted, the armed forces was something that Zack Snyder and promoted. So you guys are literally the type of people that Zack Snyder is all about.
Bro, that's why That's why they got so mad, Josh, because you know, ever since I had been on YouTube, I've been hearing like, Zack don't rock with y'all. You're never gonna meet Zack, right? Like, none of this stuff is gonna happen, right? Like, Zack is not about y'all. Yo, Zack don't. And I've really been hearing this. Zack don't like you. Like, Josh, I've heard that so many times, yo, by people that, right? By people that you would think would know, right? People that have been on podcasts with Zack and all these things. They're like, yeah, Zack don't really rock with him like that. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then meeting him and finding out that it was to the contrary, I was like, yo, not only is Zack cool, but he's rocking with us. Like, he's rocking with us. Hey, shouts out to Rocco. You know what I'm saying? I just saw him in the chat talking about Sky. Stole my PlayStation. My dog ain't no legend. Bruh, it's like, yo, y'all calling me thieves and stuff. This is wild, yo. All for some movies, Josh.
And here's the thing, like, you know, I was gonna bring this up, but it's notable to say that me and you were one of the two people, or some of the fans who were lucky enough to see advanced screenings of the Flash movie that came out.
Oh my God.
And so if people want to say, oh, well, the Flash movie flopped, you know, it's time to move on. Well, here's the thing. There was a lot going with the Flash movie, right? But me and you saw it at an early screening on May 22nd. And truth be told, this is 100% fact. I didn't talk with you. I didn't know you were going to prior to. I went, and I was I go to advanced screenings because I've been going since college. It's always like 50-50 if you're ever going to get in, because it's a first come, first serve kind of thing.
Got to get there early.
Yeah. So I don't like to promote something if I don't know if I'm going to get in, right?
Yeah.
But I saw the movie with my two best friends, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And the reception that both me and you got was real interesting, because I think people within our movement were trying to not have #sell or any type of continuation happen by making the Flash movie flop, right?
Oh,
that's
yeah.
My opinion. But
no, that was definitely a thing, Josh. Definitely.
And you know, it sucks because I think the quality of the Flash movie was better than most people give it credit for, and deserved better box office results, especially for Michael Keaton. He had nothing to do with any of the controversies or the regime changes or anything. But that movie was also tampered with by the CEOs of DC Studios. So the same thing has continued to happen as recently as a June release, right? So who knows what's going to happen when Blue Beetle comes out, and who knows what's going to happen from Aquaman 2. But if you listen to Sil Nation, Sil Abdul's YouTube channel, and Michael Sutton, you might have an idea of what's to come. But
you just might.
#sell is not contingent on those movies, right? Because it is another platform and another avenue outside of what WBD has planned currently. So if you're trying to say, move on, the Flash didn't do well, it doesn't matter. We like the Flash movie, but that doesn't, its success or does not matter.
Oh, yeah. And I really touched on this the other day, right? If the Flash would have tanked because of no interest in the Snyderverse characters, then I think it could have hurt what we were doing. But that's not what happened. What happened was that movie had so much other stuff surrounding it that ended up having a much bigger impact on its box office demise than anything dealing with the Snyderverse cast. Right? So, you know, there was a avenue in which that movie doing badly could have hurt our movement, but it didn't go that route. You know what I'm saying? So unfortunately for some, we're still here, just as big, just as galvanized, just as energized as ever. And if you really look at it, coming out of the Flash, we've only gotten more points towards this thing being a possibility than anything, honestly, that happened prior to the Flash flopping, right? Because now we know for a fact that WBD and Netflix were in talks, so much so that there's already HBO original content on Netflix right now as we speak, right? So, you know, I think that when everything is all said and done, people will realize that the Flash really had no impact on our sale campaign, or if anything, it just probably sped it up quite a bit, which is what it's seeming like.
WBD, just so everyone knows, they are broke. They are not in a financial situation where they want to be in with their stakeholders. David Zaslav, from what I understand, you know, he's getting booed right now at graduations due to the writer's strike going on and the decision making that he's giving power to, you know, the people that he's put in charge. And the guy, from my opinion, is not fit for this Hollywood structure. He's just a content, you know, person who's trying to make cheap content, and that's not someone that I think he's in over his head, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But now, like you said, you heard that Netflix is negotiating with WB, and we've already seen now Insecure, Issa Rae's show, Billions, The Rock's production company show on HBO Max, or HBO, is being negotiated, and a lot
Ballers, Ballers, right?
Ballers, sorry.
Yeah.
So there's stuff happening in real time right now that is very exciting. If you're on the fence about #sell, the fence, there's no fence anymore. The fence is gone. Come on over, because things are popping off and it's getting real.
Right. Yo, just look at what's happened since we've started this campaign, right? We've gotten like 3 Forbes articles. I mean, that is Forbes, people. Forbes, not IGN. You know what I'm saying? Like, just Forbes for crying out loud. 3 times. Okay? 3. Right? So, and they spoke about it being a possibility multiple times. Right? So you got the Forbes coverage, you got even me doing an interview with comicbookmovie.com. Right? That's crazy. Multiple articles from Geekosity Mag, right? Wayne T. Carr getting into the fold on our very first trending day.
Zack,
right?
Lantern, yeah.
Meepy Maud, right? The Snyder Cut actress, right? Who plays the mother in the ATM scene. She got involved on one of our trending days, right? You got Zack and his team okaying the logo without the Netflix stuff, right? You got you know, the Stone Quarry thing getting covered by multiple trades and outlets. Now we're getting Justice League animated on Netflix. You're getting more DC content on Netflix. Then it's confirmed that they're negotiating on original content. Zack Snyder's Justice League is a Max original, right? So we hear about that. Then we're actually getting the Netflix content. I mean, we're actually getting the content on Netflix. Like, this has just been 6 months, people.
There's a lot.
Right? And it's been, I believe, because we have kept our messaging effective and focused. And at every turn where people wanted us to kind of stray, especially Leon and I, we made sure that this thing stayed on track. And even sometimes people might not have agreed with the vision or felt that it was the best path, but in our heart of hearts, we knew that the only way was to keep everything focused. Like, you have to stay focused. You cannot, you know, engage in all these different arguments and conversations at one time, right? That's why that second hashtag was born by Leon, right? It was, you know, an amalgamation of all these other things that we're asking for. And so the only reason why this thing has gone this far is because we've stayed effective and you guys stayed effective and you believe, right? Belief is a powerful thing, yo. It's a powerful tool. Hope is a powerful tool. We provided a rational, logical way why this thing can happen that was sound business-wise. And now you see that even these companies are engaging in this back and forth, right? I don't care what y'all think they was talking about Insecure and not about DC. Like, come on, yo. Come on now. Come on now. This is.
But I wanted to grab this real quick. Why do you think this poster was modified? So I don't know if you can see this, but this is the statue from BVS, but the fingers are actually modified to have a 5 almost, like Zack Snyder. Right. Like, what's the deal with this? Like, why would Zack Snyder change a concept art? Oh, there was actually an event called Tadum, like a Comic-Con in Brazil for Netflix, and that was featuring Zack Snyder, Debbie Snyder for Rebel Moon, an actor by the name of Henry Cavill I've never heard of.
Yo, and shouts out to Marcus. Neo 7's bringing up that the Army of the Dead actress used the hashtag. Right? And so, yo, man, look, there is a lot of reasons to be happy about hashtag sale, right? And I think that the reasons to not be on board are becoming less and less, right? It's getting to be, if you don't like what we're doing, it's almost just like it's some personal thing, because I just don't feel like it makes much sense to not be on board, right? I mean, we've heard everything from the first hashtag doesn't make any sense. Well, it looks like it's about to make sense now, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that's been something else. Josh, I've been hearing this whole time. Oh, I don't know what the first hashtag for. What does it even mean, right? You about to see what it means now, because it's looking like they about to sell DJL and Netflix.
Oh, Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman herself, was at Tadum as well, and she was asked about more Wonder Woman specifically, and she told them things are being worked on right now. She did not say she was done. She said things are being worked on. And
Josh, not only
movie coming out.
Josh, not only that, right? But no, because you're leaving out an important part, right? Because right before that, when it was kind of announced that she was probably done as Wonder Woman with WB, she had that statement where she was talking about, oh, she was happy to be moving on and not have to wait on one project anymore, right? And then immediately after that, she goes in, she's around Zack and Henry Cavill and all this stuff, and now it's Wonder Woman and stay tuned. So, hey, I don't know, y'all, but I know that right before she met up with Zack and Henry and all them, it was, hey, I'm happy that this chapter is kind of closed and I can move forward. And then right after that is.
And I don't know about anyone else, but if you try to replace that one, Wonder Woman, like, come on now. Like, you're not replacing that Superman. You're not replacing that Wonder Woman. You're not replacing that Batman. Those are my characters that I am invested in and want to see more of. Other creators and other artists, they can have their universes and they can continue, right? So why not let this also continue?
Hey, Josh, they thought recasting Cavill was bad. Look, most people don't even really realize that Gal Gadot is getting recast, right? When my mom found out, you know how hot my mom was?
Yeah. Same. My mom was hot. Wait, what? Are you serious? The backlash is they're not ready for what's coming their way. So if you're interested in more of Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Ezra Miller,
Ray Fisher, Ray Porter, Harry Lennox, right? All them. If you want to see Dark Side come to Earth, right? You want to see the story of the new gods play out? It's only one way.
Sell.
This is the way. Hashtag sell.
Hashtag sell. You know, we got some. There's exciting things coming, guys. I do got to start wrapping up slowly but surely because I do have an early morning for the convention. I would love to continue, and I could talk to you for like 4 more hours actually, but
hey, it's all good.
I know you got an early morning with cartoons and cereal, so
oh yeah,
I did want to say that you know, you guys are really you have successfully made a campaign where you've given hope to this fan base when we didn't have any, and we didn't see much avenues other than turning toxic, right? Other than being what people have labeled us, but because you're so disciplined, I played earlier that clip that Zack Snyder said. The only you is you, basically, is what he said, you know, and because of who you are, because you have served, you are a patriot, you are a real life hero, in my opinion. You're so disciplined and you are so focused that these rules of engagement have led us to this positive movement being successful, getting worldwide coverage, you directly asking the man himself if he wants it, and he does. So I don't see why anyone would object to this at all. I think it's time that we unite as a fandom and we come together, and whether you like this person or not, it doesn't matter. What's the big picture, right? What do we want? We want more Snyderverse. We want more of these actors. We're going to continue it just on Netflix. So hashtag sells DSJL to Netflix. Hashtag sells Snyder.
Hey yo. Yo, look, we've all been so honored to be rocking out with this thing. Everybody that is involved with it, right? From myself, Leon, the rest of the cool table, Celeb Duel, you know, Mikey Sutton. Everybody's been helping out behind the scenes, and all of you guys that have been tweeting this thing, engaging with the content, really watching stuff on Netflix, right? And really just doing whatever you can to support what we've been doing, right? So it's really been a Herculean team effort by all accounts, right? And so with this newfound like galvanized, what the word am I looking for? Galvanized. With us being so galvanized, right? It is important for us to not, you know, take these things lightly, right? We do not take this stuff lightly at all. We recognize what this thing is, and that is why we're so protective over it, right? You know, when people try to call us toxic or try to knock us off course, when literally like our first rule of engagement is be positive when you're using these hashtags, right? You know, those things don't really get to us, right? It's all just white noise. The real power that we have is in each other and us using one another's support to just continue this thing going. It's bigger than myself. It's bigger than all of us, right? And I would like to say this, you know, there's been a lot said about these hashtags versus the other ones, right? And I would just say this, you know, I supported all these campaigns, right? Just as feverishly as I did this one, right? You know, I was out there tweeting, doing all types of things, you know, spending money. Like I've donated so much money to AFSP, right? Getting clothes and, you know, just donating to billboard campaigns and bus ads, right? Like there's been like pretty much everything that came up, I was there to support it, right? So I know the power that this fandom has when we're all focused and united with one goal. I think that if everybody's going to be honest with themselves, right, which, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I have to look in the mirror and see my reflection, and I feel great about what I'm doing and where this is leading to and what side of history that I feel like I'm going to end up being on, right? So everybody's going to have to do that for themselves. I would just say that when it comes to these hashtags versus the older ones, I think if we're being very honest right now, if you read the tea leaves, you see what's happening, right? Like, it's very clear that WBD is moving in a different direction. And these other hashtags are literally moving us towards a future that is not there with this other company. It's just not there, right? And if it was there, those chances evaporated with The Flash and its box office results. If there was a chance for this thing to be restored, it was with The Flash and Black Adam, right? And projects that was adjacent to or canon to the Snyderverse, right? So, you know, that was the time to show them our power. A lot of us as a fan base chose to do otherwise, right? And so it really, like, those box office, you know, with Black Adam not being a box office failure, but it failing to live up to expectations, right? And with The Flash's outright failure, you know, that pretty much sealed the deal with that other company. So I think if we're being honest, right, and we're reading the tea leaves, we're seeing that they're negotiating, we're seeing that they've been talking. Look, also, the entire time, we've been hearing, hey guys, how you know that Zack is interested? Well, I asked him. Right? Like, yeah. Oh, yeah, quite literally, right? Well, hey guys, do you think that Netflix is interested? Do you guys think that Netflix is interested? I mean, well, they haven't said that they're interested. They haven't said anything. They haven't said anything. Well, now we know that they're talking, right? So there is nothing to really stop the entire Zack Snyder fan base from getting behind this thing, in my opinion. Now, whether or not, if that happens, right, you know, it's going to make us no difference. We're going to keep going. It would be dope for everybody to hop on board, but, you know, we're just going to keep going, Josh. Like, we're going to keep this thing going, and we're not stopping for anybody. This thing is much bigger than all of us, and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's right there. Like, it's literally right there. There is a path there, and it can't be denied. I don't care what y'all say to them, like, it cannot be denied. There's literally a path, right? Oh my God. Because the goalposts have moved so much, right? It was Zack don't want it, Netflix don't want it. Now it's but you know, it's gonna be a lot of money though. Right? Like, it's gonna be a whole lot of money. Netflix, they ain't got that kind of money, right? What would it really do for them, right? Like, I mean, is it gonna really bring them new subs? And, like, you know, because it isn't gonna bring in new subs, right? It's just gonna bring in the same, like, yo, the arguments just keep changing, and I suspect that they will keep changing. Next is gonna be but it's compromised over on Netflix. That ain't what Zack was really gonna do. It's like, but really the old storyboards is old. You know what I'm saying? So it was always gonna be something new, right? But yeah, you know, that stuff isn't gonna change. We're just gonna keep on going, though, Josh, and we're gonna do everything within our power to bring this thing home. And even if it doesn't happen, we will sleep soundly knowing that we exhausted all options. And the real win, Josh, see, because we've been won, Josh. We won when this new movement was differentiated from these older movements, and people were literally saying, like, hey, This new thing is not toxic. They're like seemingly reasonable. It can actually happen. And I think that that's one of the main reasons why we got so much support and why this thing has moved so quickly, right? Because when you're nicer and you're logical about things, people are more willing to help you, you know?
Yeah. And that goes to like who you are as a person and formulating those ROEs, the rules of engagement. So I once again just reiterate that I really am inspired by you, Sky. You are, in my opinion, just a fellow fan like me, but you've stepped up to the plate when we've needed somebody to show up and show out as a leader. When everyone else was telling us it's time to move on, you said, no, you move. You know, that Peggy Carter, I do like Marvel, and I'm going to bring up Civil War, that Peggy Carter quote that they're reading at her funeral was like, no, you move. I love that quote from Civil War when basically everyone is telling you, move on, you move and you stand your ground. And thank you for doing that, because it's galvanized me. It's galvanized people all over the world. It's galvanized Netflix, I think, to see like, oh, there's money to be made here.
Right. And possibly, right?
WBD too needs money. So it just makes sense. And
man, you know, and look, I really am appreciative of you making that statement, because that's also something that does get lost. I think people, I've gotten called a lot of names, Josh, a grifter, a liar, this, that, and the third. But honestly, I am just a fan, yo. Like, I have a regular job that I go to, you know what I'm saying? And then pretty much like all my other free time is just doing this, right? My job has nothing to do with Hollywood, even though I do meet some famous people and sometimes interact with them and work with them in like a close kind of proximity. But it's not like related to Hollywood in any way, shape, form, or fashion, right? And so I am just a fan. Leon is just a fan, right? Like, we literally just started creating content like not even 2 years ago, right? You know, my channel just was able to start getting super chats like a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Right. I literally, like, I have not been paid from YouTube. Like, I've only sunk money into this thing. I've taken time off work. Like, when I went to Stone Quarry, I took that day off work, guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've literally been doing nothing but just pouring into it with, you know, Necron, making all those calls into the people and doing all that stuff. Austin doing all these edits and posters and stuff. DJ Rocco doing all these IG posters and all. Everybody's just pouring into this thing whatever they can, right? And you know, that is what I think I really love about this whole thing and why it's been so special to be a part of. And from my perspective, I feel like I got the best seat in the house, because while everybody is saying, oh man, like, Sky, you did this and you did that, like, I get to see how much everybody's been pouring in behind the scenes. And I said this the other day and I will repeat it here now. If it was not for the people that have been supporting me with this thing and the team that's been with me, this thing would have, there's no way, because it's gotten wacky too many times for like me to not recognize that it's been because these people have been working with me that we've been able to navigate these storms. Because if it was just me, there's no way that they wouldn't have stamped this out. There's no way. Right. There's no way. But luckily, I'm working with a bunch of dope individuals who truly believe in this thing, and we're going to do everything that we can to bring it home.
Yes, sir. And I believe tomorrow at, let's see, California time would be
7 a.m.
California time. So that's 9 a.m. my time. Cartoons and Cereal Part 7. The Good Austin right here, and the Syndicate Network, the Cool Table, the Mikeyverse will be in the building simultaneously. So it will be New Geeks YouTube channel, Sky's YouTube channel, Necron's YouTube channel, and Good Austin's YouTube channel, all doing a watch along of Justice League Unlimited. Do you know what episode you will be on tomorrow? Or
I think we're starting episode 20 or 19.
Okay, because
I think it's 20.
I participated and I forgot where we ended, but
yeah, I think it's episode 20 if I'm not mistaken.
It's just a good time. Like, here's the thing for me, like, even if nothing were to happen and no negotiations were happening, it's awesome being a part of this movement just because you're surrounded by positive fans who love DC, who love pop culture, and you love other things too. You like Marvel, you know, you like Star Wars, you like pop culture, you like sports. You even have a sports, you know, show, I think, or you get or guest.
Absolutely. So absolutely.
Interacting with cool people is obviously the best part, and for me. So thank you for being cool. Thank you for the cool table to do all this work. So I guess I do got to wrap it up because I got to start getting ready for my early day tomorrow. But as we end here, do you have any final thoughts? Anything's coming up that you want to promote other than cartoons and cereal on your YouTube channel?
Okay, but first and foremost, Josh, hey, y'all, shouts out to Josh hosting his first live stream, right? Josh did a great job, you know what I'm saying? He made a great environment. I felt very welcome. You know, he was pulling up the comments. He got everything ready to go. Shouts out to Josh on his first live stream. We have we have increased his subs almost like 300 something percent. You know what I'm saying? So like, yo, we are all expecting some more content from Josh very soon. I'm putting it out there right now. So I'm about to put him on the spot, people. We want more from Josh. Look, as for myself, we got cartoons and cereal tomorrow, right? I was supposed to be doing like some Twitter spaces, but I'm probably gonna hold off on those until next week when we got some bigger news to announce. Night Shift is going 5 nights per week pretty soon, right? Which is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. All right? We will be taking me and Mikey Sutton, right? We're gonna be talking about all things pop culture, comic book movies, sports, whatever, right? We talking about it. 5 nights per week. Be on the lookout for that. I cannot wait. That is super exciting. And you know, I'm really about to be ramping up the content. I really wanted to take this week off of like doing content on my own channel just to make myself available to have these conversations about sale, because with everything that's been going on, I thought it was super important to kind of go around and let everybody know like what we're actually about, so that now that these things seem to be actually coming to fruition, everybody can actually know what the movement is about, right? And what we're trying to accomplish with it, right? We think it is very important for the Zack Snyder fan base to be represented in a much more positive light than it has been for these last few years. I know that Josh said, you know, that he think that unjustly the fandom has been labeled as toxic. I do too, to a certain degree, right? But I also can recognize that this fandom, you know, there were several people with large outlets and large platforms, especially on Twitter, that behave in a way that really gave the Zack Snyder fan base a bad name. And I think that it was important to differentiate ourselves from what we were seeing with that, because, you know, the only hashtag that has been successful so far, people, was release the Snyder Cut, right? And once that happened, there needed to be an evolution in our tactics and in our rhetoric and with what we were doing. And that just didn't come. and we, you know, kind of stayed doing the same things. And that's why I believe ultimately that Restore ended up not coming to fruition because of not only WB failing to really give the fans what they wanted, but also because we didn't evolve, right? We didn't evolve our messaging. And I think that with what we have going on right now, you're clearly seeing evolved messaging. And I think that, you know, I can sleep soundly saying that I feel like that's the only reason why we're even here having this conversation now, is because we really stuck to what we knew was right. And so just be on the lookout and just know that, you know, whenever hashtag sale is engaging with you guys and having these conversations, that, you know, we are doing it with the entire fan base's best interest at heart. And we will never lead you guys in a way that we feel like would lead us in a way to put more obstacles in front of us that don't need to be there, right? We already have obstacles in front of us as a fan base, like the reboot and things that James Gunn and them have been doing kind of behind the scenes or whatever. But like, you know, there is no reason for the fan base to act in a way that is putting obstacles in front of us, because we're already having to jump over them anyway. So, you know, moving forward, I'm feeling great, like more than great, ecstatic about our chances to get this thing through to fruition. And, you know, I just hope that as many people rock out as possibly can, because I want this to be something that we can all celebrate. And I would rather not, you know, like if this thing gets announced and we're all still arguing about who did what, like I'm just gonna block all y'all, like 100%, right? Because like at that stage, you know, like what were we really doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, this has only and always been, at least for me, like my true north with this thing is always going to be what is going to get Zack's vision back, right? Like as effectively as possible. And so outside of that, you know, even when it comes to my own channel and my own growth, I've done several things that, you know, probably acted in hindrance to my platform growing quickly, right? Even with The Flash, if I would have came out bashing that movie, I'm sure I would have got a whole bunch more subs, right? But in reality, the movie didn't do what people were claiming that it was going to do. And I had to be honest, right? Because I'm never going to come out here and be just blatantly lying to you guys. Never. I might not be able to tell you guys everything that I know, right? But I'm not going to ever come out here and just be lying, right? Like 100%. So there's more than enough reasons to be happy and to be galvanized. Y'all see, I've been smiling, right? Y'all should be smiling. And I wish you guys did know everything that I knew, and you'd really be not worrying whatsoever. Like whatsoever. Y'all would not have not one care in the world, just like I don't, right? This thing is happening.
Faith, Alfred. Faith.
Hey, faith, Alfred. Faith. 100%. So shouts out to Josh. Thank you for having me on, bro. This was a super dope interview. And, you know, hopefully you keep doing content, bro, because the streets need that.
Thank you so much. I just want to thank you for coming on and being my first guest and my first ever live stream. It was dope meeting you, Sky. Like I told this to Sil on his channel. Like I came off kind of strong. You know, I'm a passionate person. I think you've seen that and how I dress and cosplay, and I come off kind of strong. But I thought like I knew you. When I saw you, I was excited. I was like, oh, Sil Nation's here. And getting to interact with you and know you more and just see how you, like, you are so passionate. Like I've noticed how during cartoons and serial, like me and Austin last week were going on a tangent, and you're like so super locked into the episode, and you're like, hey, what's this going on? Oh yeah, we're watching this. So I appreciate your discipline, your dedication, and just everything you've given back to this community. I really appreciate everyone in the live chat. It's a testament to how much you've cultivated this community, because you have awesome people here who've welcomed me with open arms, a seat at the table, and I really appreciate all you guys. So hopefully this will be some first of many. I did see in the chat earlier that Mikey Sutton wanted to come on my channel. I don't know why, but I'm honored that he would want to. So maybe we'll have something scheduled at a later date. I'll talk.
Well, this can't be the last live stream. It's just not. There you have it.
All right, it's not officially exclusive. Here's a bomb for you.
Exclusive.
So unfortunately, I don't have a outro, but I'm just gonna once again reiterate to everyone: if you're not rocking with Zack in this hashtag, I'm gonna play this clip for you one more time that Sky sent to me, just to get the point across to you what the man said. All righty, y'all have a great night. Happy Friday. Let's go to Cartoons in Stereo tomorrow and follow Skiiwalker Tweet on Twitter. Follow these hashtags. Follow the rules of engagement. Because
sub to the channel, you know what I'm saying? Smash that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Skiiwalker the Jedi, the cool table, right? Seal Nation, sub that. Yo, we got so much dope content coming for y'all. Sub to everybody, right? Sub to all of us. The good Austin, El Necron, right? Yo, every single Liana, the new geeks. His stream did great the other day that we did from the cartoons and cereal. I'm telling you, yo, sub to all these Still Nation Sports Network. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talking sports, whatever y'all want to talk, we here.
This community is what it's all about. And this right here, this drop is what it's all about. Have a good night, everyone.
Oh man. Look. We are approaching the man himself, Zack Snyder. Zack, yo, big, huge fan, yo. If you could sign for me, and it would make my entire life, Zack. If you could sign the hashtags that I put out, sell ZSJL to Netflix and sell Snyderverse. Yo. Woo. Hey, is he gonna do it? I don't know. Yo. Oh my God. Ah, yes. I love it. Thank you so much, Zack. You're amazing, sir. Can't wait to be here tomorrow and to finish this whole thing out. Exciting. Yes. For sure, yo.
Hashtag Snyderverse, sell it. We outro.